Jobe, thanks for joining us on Bomber TV. Let's start with the CBA negotiations. An amazing turnout last night and show of support from the players.
Yeah, it was. It was great to see all the players there from not only Melbourne but all across Australia, and I think that the players, were a really united front and put aside what happens on the weekend for I suppose to get some sort of solidarity and certainty about where we see the negotiations. And I think the players were certainly well informed last night from Matt Finnis and the team, and I think that we acted accordingly of how we felt, and so we look forward to seeing what happens.
Are you confident that an outcome can be reached, and probably more importantly for you guys, that a fair outcome can be reached?
Yeah, I think so. I think that both parties probably recognise that in any negotiation there needs to be compromises made, and that's how negotiations and how deals get done. So I'm very confident that Matt and the team have a full understanding about where the people who he's representing are coming from, and the players understand about the importance of this negotiation, and I think that a deal will be struck hopefully in the coming weeks.
People in any negotiation, especially when it involves the workforce, talk about strike. The players seem pretty quick to turn around and say that that's definitely not going to happen. Is that sort of your understanding as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be a very distant last resort, because you want no players want to go on strike, and we want the game to be healthy. We want the fans to be able to enjoy the game as much as they can, and we recognise that the AFL do a really good job. And I think that so far the negotiations, whilst there's differences of opinion, we want to keep the good faith in the negotiations, because you know that in the future you have to still negotiate with these people. So I think that it's really important that you do things in good faith, and that you recognise that there's things that you won't budge on, but there's things that you will compromise to make sure a deal gets done.
Well, let's hope one does. Let's move on to the footy. Obviously the players this year have been learning a new game plan and a new game style. Was the success early in the year that drove, I guess, higher expectations, a little bit sort of premature for where we're at this year, do you think?
I mean, you can only be judged on what your performance is. I think that we were playing at a pretty high level early in the year. We probably got some teams who were a little bit behind in terms of their pre-seasons and when they started, but I think that we were implementing the game plan, and whilst it was still a work in progress, we have probably slipped away from that a little bit over the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks. It coincided with the guys having a bye, and probably the fatigue levels the guys were taking in to games, and I think that at the moment, we've had some significant injuries to players, and we haven't had the continuity that we were able to establish early in the year. We've probably slipped in some of our target areas that we drive as a team and as a club. But in saying that, we're certainly putting some game time, and players are playing in different positions, which is really exciting for the future. And we're only, we feel like we're not far away from turning the losses around. So that is, I suppose, what happens early in the year. We were able to give ourselves an opportunity to go through a flat patch by playing and winning games early. So hopefully, if we can turn that around, then we can continue that improvement that we saw early in the year.
Did you feel like that night up in Brisbane, we obviously won the game, which was great to have a win away, but you obviously hurt your hamstring, and Heath Hocking was suspended. It felt like the momentum that we'd had early in the season was all but lost as a result of that. Was that your understanding as well?
No, look, I think that probably at that stage the guys were facing really heavy fatigue. You had played and played some NAB Cup games as well, and we were a week away from getting our bye. So I think that the guys were really sort of looking for a break, and that came about. I think obviously the loss of Heath has been really important, and I think it's meant that probably guys who weren't playing significant roles in the midfield were now forced to, and that sort of, I suppose, didn't help with the continuity that we'd been able to establish early in the year. I don't think that you can blame one performance or one game for a slide, but it probably did a combination of fatigue and disrupting the continuity that has probably lost some confidence for guys.
And we've been hit by injuries again, and I guess they're certainly not an excuse. Every team that runs out should be expected to put in the effort. But losing yourself again for 3 weeks, obviously disappointing and frustrating for you and Sam Lonergan and David Myers now as well. It's going to be really tough from here on in, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's never easy, but it is part of the game, and you can't beat yourself up about it because you drive yourself mad. But hopefully we get Kyle Hardingham back from suspension this week. Stuart Cremeri was given a break last week to rest up, so there's sort of 2 guys who'll be fresh. And I think that what it is allowing is that David Zaharakis is playing some more midfield time. Jake Melksham's getting exposed a bit more in the midfield, and so is Dyson Heppel. So these guys are now finding themselves more getting more exposure into the midfield, and that's really positive going forward.
You mentioned some of those young emerging stars then, and we had 6 in the last couple of weeks that have signed new contracts to the club. Obviously a great sign of faith and unity in the future and what we've got to look forward to. Yeah,
I think it is. I think any Essendon supporter or any AFL supporter would have seen some of the performances from those guys this year and recognise that they're going to be really excellent players for a long period of time, we hope. It's great that they've all signed up, and I think we've got a few more that we need to sign up, but it's a real sign of or show of support.
A lot of talk about the coaching panel this year, and in particular Hurdy and also Bomber. How have you found the dynamic between them and their relationship with the players?
Yeah, I think that it's very much unified, and I think the coaching panel and the players see it as just a group of coaches with no extra responsibility. I think they delegate really well and they share the load really well. And there'll be different times and different stages where a coach will stand up and give an address to the players. Now, whether that's at quarter time or on a Monday match review or at half time, it's very much a coaching panel, and I think that they see each other and the players see them as very much a united and one sort of level of coaches, and I think that they really tried to show that from an early stage that they were prepared to delegate and prepared to share the load. And I think in the modern AFL day, you really do need coaches, 5 or 6 coaches all doing the same role.
Brendan McCartney and also Simon Goodwin have come with a huge amount of respect, and I believe the players are really relishing having them here.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think that Mac has been in the system for a long time and part of really successful groups, and he has a wealth of knowledge and really is a great teacher, and can spell out, or I suppose demonstrate the need and the requirements of young players, and teaches them how to implement those really well. And Simon, obviously being a captain of a successful Adelaide Crows and being a 2-time premiership player and recently out of the game, I think he adds another a level, and players really respond well to someone who is recently retired from the game, and he's really been able to impart some crucial knowledge to the young players.
So as captain of Essendon, are you confident right now where we're at, that the club is heading in the right direction, the players are all behind the game plan, and we really are committed to that improvement and development, and in the next few years we're really going to see a big, powerful, successful club again?
Well, you hope so. I mean, there's lots of things that you can't control, but I think that the players certainly recognise that there's a lot of hard work coming. There needs to be a lot of hard work, and it needs to be continual, but that the foundations are slowly starting to be poured, and that I suppose the pillars that you require to be successful are starting to be put in place. Now that patience is a wonderful thing, but it might take a couple of years. It might come along quicker, but I think that the players certainly feel as if we're heading in a direction that will hopefully bring success if we get some luck and the hard work continues.
Thanks, mate. Best of luck with your recovery.
No problem. Thanks, mate.